Roll call. We have one absent, predetermined before because he had another commitment, so Mr. Knaxey is not here. All the other board members are here, and as you know, we have a vacancy to fill, so will you please stand for the pledge, please? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I want to thank the board members for taking this commitment and being here. And I know it's a very important meeting because of the selection of a vacant seat on board. So we'll start out with the determination process to fill a vacancy in Area 6. Mr. Young, are you ready to go on that one?
And Mr. Nava, members of the board.
Thank you. I want to say that we don't have any electronic devices today, so we'll be voting by roll call, okay?
Perfect. This evening, because of the resignation of Ron Freitas, the opportunity the board has to fill that vacancy. And so I bring to you tonight the approval process that you want to follow, be it to fill that seat by way of election or a provisional appointment process to fill the seat with an appointment. So I hand that back to you, Mr. Nava, and the board members, as far as what next steps you would like to take.
Thank you, Mr. Young. I have any board comments? Susan?
No, not at this time.
Not at this time. How about you, Sherry? Jeff?
No.
Courtney?
No.
Okay. It's a very important meeting, and I thank you again for attending. As you know, we're in the process of selecting one of the options that Mr. Neal gave us. So the first one is, of course, is the provisional appointment. And the reason I mention that is we've had provisional appointments before on this board during my tenure of being on the board. And they went so smooth, we didn't have any problems, and we selected some good board members to this board. As a matter of fact, Mr. Freitas was one of them that he was appointed, and Mr. Womack was another one. So I know that we've been through that process. But I really recommend that provisional appointment instead of going through elections. But I would need to know maybe a discussion from the board, and this is why I'm asking each board member if whatever their wishes are. And start with Susan.
Sure. I think my number one point is if we have somebody that's qualified and anxious to take on those duties, that we can make a determination. I would rather see us go in that direction than have a qualified election. If you look at it, it's about $500,000 to do that out of our pockets, and I think our students in our district could use that money in another avenue if we have qualified candidates.
Yes. Sure.
I concur. Saving any amount of money of that caliber seems just common sense kind of thing to do.
Thank you.
I agree with saving the money. I think it's,
Yeah, excuse the interruption, board members, just so that the public can hear the comments, if we could have the microphones,
Okay.
because they are, excuse the interruption, but Michael will help get those revved up.
You mean it was off, Mike?
Yours
Come
will be
on,
the
man.
It's all his fault.
Thank you.
Would you like us to
I'm
go
sorry.
again?
I believe it would be wise for you to start that process again.
Okay, let's start a new process so we can record it.
Okay,
Susan,
I'll do it again, maybe I'll do it better.
do it better.
I would agree with the appointment versus having an election. The election is over $500,000 out of our general fund, I believe.
That is correct.
And so I think that money, I would like to see it better used for our students and our staff and our LUSD community. I think there's lots of qualified people in our community that would rise to the occasion and want to sit on a unified school board seat.
Thank you, Susan.
I totally concur with what Mrs. McFarland said. because the money can definitely be better spent, and I feel that we have a lot of people that, especially during the election, voiced a lot of interest in what was happening, and I feel like this is a perfect time to get those people on board.
Thank you, Sharon.
I agree with what I've heard. I think it's expensive, and I think it'd be better, money could be spent better elsewhere, and that we should look into some qualified people to run or be appointed.
Courtney? Fine, he's fine, very good. Again, like I mentioned before, I went through the process and I also recommend that. But now I have to entertain a motion from the board, okay? And motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Porter, motion to approve, second by Ms. McFarland. And we'll go by roll call vote.
Public
Sherry?
comment?
Excuse me.
Public comment?
Please open it
Oh,
up for public comment.
sorry, before Lisa showed up, there was nobody else. Do I have public comments?
Sure, since I've been called out on the carpet. I agree with the fact that I would like.
Excuse the interruption.
Oh.
Lisa, for the public, would you state your name and
That's
who
okay,
you?
okay. Hi, Lisa Wilkins, President, Lodi Education Association. I agree with the board that saving the money is a great idea. I would just like to emphasize that I would like to see this opening widely advertised, because I think we need to add some more diversity to our board. I know that our student population is very diverse, and I would like to see that reflected in the people who are making decisions for them. So that would be my only ask, is that we really do a great job of going to the public, to various different groups maybe we haven't thought about approaching before, and publicize this opening and try to get a qualified candidate from somebody who's a little bit, doesn't fit the prototype of, or the stereotype, that's the word I'm looking for, the stereotype of your traditional school board member. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkins, for your comments. I have a motion on the floor. Mr. Porter motion, Ms. McFarland second. And I'd like to go through a roll call vote.
What
please.
was the motion, sir?
The motion was to approve the
Thank
provisional
you.
appointment. Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Ms. Alexander?
Aye.
Ms. Strong?
Aye.
And President votes aye. Vote passes, the motion passes 5-0 with one absent and no other board member. Okay. I'm sure that the board has already looked at the process of the timeline. Can you go through that, Mr. Young?
Yes.
Timeline.
Mr. Nava, members of the board, now that you have made a decision to move forward with the provisional appointment process, we will be advertising and getting that out to area schools and reaching out to the community within that area. The next part of that process will be for you to approve the timelines, understanding that you have two important timelines to consider. The first of which is that 60-day window in which you need to select a provisional appointment. And then the second part of the process would be after a 30-day period of time, you would then look at approving that person at a regular board meeting. They would be sworn in and they would take their seat at that juncture. So looking at it with this in mind, knowing this is the beginning process, there's a couple key pieces you need to understand. We'll begin the advertising process tomorrow. We know that between now and February 8th, we believe that's an adequate amount of time for candidates to turn in a letter of interest along with a resume to you. We would set that deadline for Wednesday, February 8th at 12 p.m. And the next piece would be for your appointed ad hoc committee to review those resumes and letters to make sure they meet those qualifications. The next piece would be to hold a special board meeting February 23rd. The purpose of that meeting would be for you as a board to interview the candidates who meet the requirements and to make your board selection of the provisional appointment. Then at that point, we have a responsibility to notice the public of that decision that you have made, and then waiting until 30 days ends. The board meeting that is closest to those 30 days would be your March 28th board meeting. And I would just simply say, we are trying to time it so they begin and they're sworn in as soon as possible after that 30-day period of time. And the March 28th day would allow us to do that just several days after the 30-day period ends. Questions?
Any questions from the board?
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
I have one for you and one for Mr. Nava, I guess. When you say advertise, can you describe that?
Yes, we will be, okay, so the advertising that we're beginning tomorrow will be to reach out to the Lodi News Sentinel and the Stockton Record. We will be running those weekly up through what I believe is February 4th, which is the Saturday paper prior to that date. We will be utilizing social media, getting that information out through social media. We will include a link so that people can check, and it'll go to the website and they will read what they need to do if they are interested as candidates or interested in a provisional appointment. We will also be reaching out to the school sites because we want them to post it on their sites within that area, and we will be notifying those communities so people can consider it, working with the principals to get it out to the greater school communities. And if, Chelsea, were we going to send it out district-wide with that information, or are we just sending it within the area?
District-wide.
It will go out district-wide to our greater community as well.
Okay. And then my next question was the ad hoc committee. What is their role?
Their role is to verify the applications only. The applications will be turned into our superintendents. They will review them, or the person that reviews them, make sure they're qualified and they live in that area, the age, et cetera, And the ad hoc committee will only look at the applications and verify that they're proper and meet the needs of the qualifications.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Ross.
sir.
Thank you. Mr. Young, appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I just had a question. If the qualifications, say the applications came in and they were they were non-qualified for some reason, and is there a process where, does a committee then kick the applications back, or is that just something that doesn't
Actually, I
happen?
think it's before the committee gets these. If I'm not mistaken, that these will be scrutinized and inspected by whomever our superintendent selects, and those applications should qualify the candidate, or do not. If they don't qualify, they will set them apart. The ad hoc committee will just review them, and that's it. Have nothing to do with who's going to be what. But if they approve all those applicants that are going to be in, we will interview them.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we certainly in the superintendent's office will be providing assistance to that ad hoc committee with that process, and we would notify those people who showed an interest but don't meet the requirements. So that would happen upon that reviewing process through the ad hoc committee.
Yeah. Susan?
Real quickly, can you define or put some parameters around what is a qualified candidate? I mean, I know in my head what I would think would be a qualified, but what are we actually looking for so the public knows?
Yes, thank you. For a candidate to be considered, they must be 18 years of age or older. They need to be a citizen of the state of California, registered voter, resident of the school district and trustee area, because we do have areas, and not disqualified by the Constitution or laws of the state from holding a civil office, and they must be a registered voter in this district. So, but by living in the area meets those requirements. There are some other convictions that would be by law preclude them. Those are a little more detailed, but in essence, 18, citizen, registered, lives in the area.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Any other questions? Okay, then let's go ahead and, I need to entertain a motion on our time line here, on our schedule for our selection.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Mr. Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. McFarland. Mr. F?
Aye.
Before you go there,
I'm sorry.
sorry to interrupt, Mr. Nava, I want to make sure the public has an opportunity to
I
make
don't want to
comment.
neglect that, because I need to hear some noise, but I haven't heard any noise, okay? Any comments from the public? No comments from the public, okay. Let's start out with Ms. McFarland.
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Mr. Stroll.
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Aye.
And the president votes aye. So we will keep this calendar of events, Mr. Young, so we can do that, okay?
We'll begin working on that tomorrow.
Okay, now, I would like to appoint an ad hoc committee, and since the board only has 6 members, I would, if they don't want to do it, you let me know. I'd like to appoint Ms. McFarland and Ms. Alexander as our 2 board members to scrutinize those applications. Are you available?
Yes, I'm available, Mr. Nava.
I think you should be.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And that's your ad hoc committee of 2 that will scrutinize those applications and then.
Is this the boy versus girl thing?
No. Sometimes if you're sitting on my right side, I favor my right like
See,
you used to.
I always favor my
Favor
left,
left,
sorry,
okay.
there you go. So this is payback for, right?
All right, thank you very much for accepting, okay? So we will have Ms. McFarland and Ms. Alexander as our ad hoc committee to scrutinize those or review the applications for approval, okay?
We look forward to working with them both.
Thank you very much. I have no other business. If I can entertain a motion to adjourn, I'm red eye.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Porter.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Alexander. And meeting adjourned. I'm sure we didn't refuse it. Thank you. Thank you for attending again, all right? And we'll see you next Tuesday, prepared for a good one, hopefully.
So we have up your sleeve, Mr. Nava.
Yeah.
A little bit longer.
Huh?
I think it took me